Alright, so in this video, I'll be going over how I went from not dunking to dunking in 5 months. So a little background on me is I was always able to jump pretty high. I remember the first time I could touch rim was in 8th grade. I think I was about 5'6" or 5'7", around that height. So, but I could jump pretty high. But whenever I get the ball in my hands and try to go for a dunk, it's like all my jumping power went away. So what I did was I got a basketball, put in my car, so that way whenever I was driving home from work or from classes, I would just stop by at a park, and maybe for an hour or so I would just practice jumping. I first started by testing how high I could jump from a standstill. From there, I increased the amount of steps I took to see if I could get higher, and also get more comfortable with running into my jumps. One thing I learned as I was watching the recordings of myself jumping is the importance of arm swing. So when you swing your arms at the right time when jumping, you're going to go higher. But if you don't swing it, you're not going to jump as high. So this forward motion helps propel you upward, and if you sink it at the right time, you're going to go a lot higher. So that's something I noticed, and that's one thing I focused on, and I was able to see that reflect in my jumps. All right, another thing I focused on was the penultimate step, and the penultimate step is like the second to last step before you jump. So if you can see here, it's 1, 2, and if I'm going to jump, it's going to be a big step, boom, boom, and I jump. That's the penultimate step, so it's boom, boom. And the importance of the penultimate step is it helps you transition that horizontal velocity you're carrying when you start running, when you start your approach, into vertical velocity. So the better you can transition here, the higher you'll go, because you're carrying all that speed and momentum that you built up in the approach, and you're transferring it vertically. That's going to give you a higher jump, and that's what we want. To help me work on better timing when I jumped, I would do self alley-oops or have someone throw up the ball for me. And doing this allowed me to focus more on trying to dunk the ball and have the technique that comes with that come naturally rather than forcing it because you're thinking too much. So doing the self alley-oops or having someone throw me the ball and then me running to it and then trying to dunk it will make the technique come more naturally. Okay, so here's where I started trying to dunk the ball with one hand, which proved to be quite difficult. And the hard part for me was when I would jump with the ball would just fly out of my hand. Now, I can palm the ball, but when the ball's in motion, it's a lot harder to keep a good grip on the ball. You see, it's the size of my hands, not very big. So I had to work around that, and how I got around that was to keep the ball closer to my body, and then that gives me more control to direct it. And see, I haven't quite mastered it yet, but it's looking a lot better. So now I moved on to touching the rim with both hands, and this was to also improve the timing of my arm swing with my descent into the jump, because when you jumping and you're trying to touch something with one arm, you can reach a lot higher than if you do it with two arms. And that's because when you do it one arm, you're reaching, and when I'm reaching, I'm making my body longer. Whereas I can't reach as far as if I do two hands here. My scapula, but you can't see it here, only elevates so far. But if I lean to one side, I've just increased the distance I can touch, as opposed to here. Not as high, a lot higher. So I knew that if I could grab the rim with two hands, that would mean my technique is getting better. Okay, so here is where I actually do a legit dunk for the first time. Now, in the past, I would try to dunk the ball with both hands, and I would end up getting rim stuff, or I'd miss the rim completely, and that's because, I don't know, it's like whenever I had the ball in my hand, all the power that I had just completely disappeared. Like, I'd jump, say this is the rim, this is me, imagine there's a ball between my two hands, I'd go up, and I'd just miss it, just like that. And so the reason for that was because of my approach. I got a lot of power in this approach, but like I was talking about before, that penultimate step, which helps you transition that horizontal velocity into vertical velocity, it has to be synced, it has to be right. If it's not right, you're gonna be wasting all that energy elsewhere and you're not going to jump as high. And so for me, it was finding out a way to make that transition smooth as possible. So that way all that power that I'm building up in the beginning is not uncontrollable, and it leads to me not jumping high. So what I did was, if you look at high jumpers, they use the curved approach. And with that curved approach, you're also using the more rotation of your body to help you get over. So the rotation adds that torque to help you get your whole body twisting. And with your body twisting, that plant foot that you use for the penultimate is going there to stop that motion so you can go up. It also helped me with my rhythm, because since it's not straight, you have to balance how fast you're going. So I was at a pace at which I could control. And with that, it was able to help me better regulate that transition from horizontal velocity to vertical velocity. That made the whole process a lot easier. Like, I'll tell you, when I jumped, it felt effortless. It was almost like I was flying. I just like took off, and I was like, then all I just had to do was just dunk the ball. It felt like nothing just coming off the ground. But yeah, that's how I went from not being able to dunk to dunking with ease in 5 months. So like, subscribe, share the video if you learned something. If you didn't, still do it. It helps me out. If you're looking for a personal trainer, I'm your guy. I'll put the link in the description below. You can follow me on Instagram at wavy_vegan, and you can also follow me on TikTok at wavyvegan. Also, you can leave some tips for me down below to help me improve my dunking ability, because I'm watching my approach and it looks super awkward, and I need to fix it up. So any tips would help. And also stay tuned, because I'm creating more content. I'm going to be adding more to the Attack on Titan workout series, so you're looking forward to that. And with that said, that's all I have for today. Peace.